What is up, Poke Peeps? This is Kai with PokéCon MA, and it is finally our first episode of PokéCon Hobby Talk, where we are going to do just that and talk about this hobby that we've all come to know and love. But without further ado, we are with the one, the only Sagittary Studios, aka Shayna. Shayna, thank you for joining us today. How are ya?
I'm doing great, Katie. Honestly, can't ask for a better day. I've
Love
been
it.
working on some shadow box cards and just having a great day.
So, for those who don't know, Shayna is one of the best artists that we have on our vendor team. Drawings, prints, custom cards, everything. Those shadow box cards. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. You got one. Heck yeah,
So,
that is a
Shayna,
Sagittary original.
Shayna makes 3D cards, those videos that you see where people are cutting out stuff and layering them on top of each other like I could never do. That is what Shayna does. As you can see, they are so amazing. So when you come to PokéCon, make sure you stop by. But Shayna, this is a question I'm going to ask every single guest who joins us on this show. PokéCon, Pokemon, how did you get into it? How did your passion for this start?
Oh, that's a really good question. Honestly, I love telling this story because it's like the first core memory I've had. So when I was leaving preschool one day, my mom would always come and give us like a little treat after preschool. And one day she decided to go to Wendy's, and Wendy's at the time had partnered with 4Kids, I think it was WBC's like little cartoon channel way back in the day. But they were advertising Pokemon Gold and Silver. So as a toy, I got a little like piece of like plastic with a little Celebi on it. And I looked at that, I was like, this is great. I love this. So going forward, that was just like my introduction was the gold and silver era. But that little toy that Wendy's decided to just give out, it really started everything.
Pokemon's always been good at marketing, and that's what they
They
do.
really have.
But for those who don't know, this is not an opinionated statement. It is fact. Gen 2 is the best. It
It
got
is.
so many people in our community into this hobby. Undisputed fact, Gen 2 is the best. Suicune best Pokemon. So, let's talk more about what you do now. We know how you
Yeah.
got started in Pokemon. How did you get started in your art? And how did that kind of fuse with Pokemon to lead you to where you are now?
Yeah, so honestly, I when I was growing up, I didn't really take as many art classes in high school because I was more focused towards the IT side. But as time went on, I found myself drawing fan art, whether it be like anime, manga, Pokemon, and taught myself basically everything. Up until I went to mass art over here in Boston, where I now have a BFA in illustration. So taking the skills that I learned and just kind of morphing them together with the passion that I do have for the community, it really just kind of pushed my interest to make proxy cards, joining the Pokemon illustration contest. That really got me to push to make the proxy cards, to make the fan art just for the community and everything else, just kind of morphing it together to bring people together. But just being able to start off and just make simple fan art, either it be by looking at someone else's piece and learning how they did it growing up. I really think that helps spark everything I do now.
And Shayna, you can attest to this. That is what we are all about at PokéCon. Taking our
100%.
passions for PokéCon and mixing them with our everyday life and the things that we do. Absolutely amazing. I love it. Speaking of PokéCon and what it is, let's talk more about that. You have been with us from the start since our very first show back in July. Talk a little bit about what that's been like for you. I can't tell all the people, it'd be biased, but coming from you,
Yeah.
I think they'd take your word for it.
Yeah, so the first PokéCon, it was on a little bit on the smaller side, I won't lie, but it was like you would see the community members, and it was just great to see the kids come in, collectors come in, just kind of like talking about something they're interested in. And then the next thing I know, we have over like 1,000 people walking through the doors, and it is just grown so big, so quick. I personally love talking with the kids that come in because a lot of the younger kids, they are coming because either their older brother or maybe their mom or dad are into it. And it's just nice to kind of see how they started because, I started with a Wendy's toy. They started by playing Scarlet and Violet. It's
Yep.
just so cool to see that. But just watching PokéCon grow from being at I believe it was the Civic Center,
Yep. Which we'll be
over.
back at soon.
Ooh, I'm excited for that one. I love that venue too. Just to like the school, it's just been absolutely insane. And the more vendors that have been coming, it's just great to meet new people as well because I've been making so many connections with new people, with old people. So just getting to make those connections too has been massive for me.
And that's exactly what we've been trying to build. You see me spamming it on Facebook and Instagram all the time about this community that we're trying to build, but that's what really happens here. Even you and I, we had never met before PokéCon. You
Yeah,
got signed up to vend, and look at me, you and Tyler now. Like,
it's
yeah,
great.
it's
I
been
love it
amazing.
so much.
For those of you who have not met Tyler, I'm gonna put his picture right here in his Instagram. One of our cameramans, he is an amazing person. The Sagittary Studios team, you can't go wrong. But Shayna, so I don't know if you can, but if you're able, let's talk about some of the stuff that you might have planned that you're working on currently.
Ooh, okay. Well, I can show like one little sample. So there is a giant project I am working on. I can't disclose everything.
Okay, we'll take what we
However,
can get.
it is involving evolution shadow boxes, and this is a Flareon that I finished. It's a little out of frame, hoping it can kind of get in. You'll see what it kind of, but this one took me
Oh
about 10
my
hours
gosh.
and I am so excited. So there is a little taste for you, but I am working closely with some people in the community to make a larger project happen, and I am super excited to be a part of it.
So like I see obviously, I look at this thing all the time. It's right behind me. I see the videos of people doing them online. I see all the ones that you have. Walk us through that a little bit and what that looks like. Because I
So
feel like
funny
if
and
I try to cut a card up, I am not going to make it look like this when I'm done. There's just no
so
chance. Like,
I'm
so
actually
walk us
working
through
on
what
a
that looks like.
Yeah, so I'm actually working on another Flareon right now. This is a piece of the Flareon. They were not harmed in the making of this, but I did have to cut out a little tiny toe, and this was a part of the actual Flareon. So I'm currently in the process of layering it. So the whole process is stacking these
I could
super
never.
tiny, intricate pieces and just kind of like cutting it,
Oh my God.
taking this little tiny sticky tape and making super tiny pieces, but then taking the blank card and then stacking it on top to what you have over in your area.
As somebody who's like not good at art at all, never has been and never will be, I just can't comprehend how that works. How do you not like rip the little pieces? I don't understand.
So it honestly is just the X-Acto knife. I have to replace the blade a lot, but making super tiny, like you can kind of see like places where the card is starting to splice. But taking like super tiny, delicate lines until you feel the card itself kind of like give up. And then you can kind of take little triangles or little tiny circle pieces out. I honestly recommend anybody who wants to try this, please try it. It is so much fun. I started doing this because I saw another group of people doing it. And I was like, that looks like a lot of fun. I want to try it. Of course, I tried the hardest card I possibly could, and I was like, all right, well, cool.
Which one
But
was that?
it was the Trapinch bursting out of sand. I can't remember the set, but
I'm
he's
gonna
like
put it right here.
really happy, bursting out of sand. And I was like, how am I going to cut all these particles out? And I almost gave up. And then I decided to try a little Mareep, and I found it so much easier. I was able to experiment, and then I started doing snoms. Of course, we love snom. So I did like 9 snoms and then finally went, okay, let's graduate to something better. And now we're doing this. So please, 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 if you have an interest in doing this, start easy, build yourself up. It is so rewarding.
So for the kids here, you heard Shayna. She almost gave up.
Please.
She didn't. Look at her now.
please. Like
That's the moral of the
if you
story.
have bulk, if you probably have a lot of bulk, even if it's on an energy card, just learning how to do the circles. It doesn't matter. Just start simple, start easy, work your way up.
And I think that goes for anything in life. That's how we started
Yes.
at PokéCon. Like you said, first show, small. We've gone into one of the biggest Pokemon communities in the
Yes.
entire region. So, folks, when you don't give up, good things happen. Shayna has something very, very special to show everybody. Shayna, take the floor.
So, as you all know, growing up, started in the gold silver era. But my mom was a little bit like, you can't buy cool like Pokemon cards until you get an allowance. So I get my allowance, and I kid you not, this is the first ever Pokemon card I have gotten. It is the Latias EX from, I believe, the Dragon Frontiers. Um,
Think
but
so.
this is my pride and joy. I just look at that and it just makes me super happy. And I don't care the condition it is in. Um, it is my pride and joy. I just love it so much. It just brings me back to like standing in Kmart and just looking over and seeing
Kmart.
Dragon Frontiers just sitting there on the shelf. So yeah, that is my first ever Pokemon card.
And friends, that is what Pokemon is all about. It's about the memories, the fun we've had, and the people that we meet doing this. The fact that Shayna has that card all these years later just shows what it still means to her, what this hobby means, and what the people that she has met means.
Today, Junior?
So, with that being said, it is time to wrap up the first ever episode of PokéCon Hobby Talk. Shayna, I could not have thought of a better guest to have for our very first episode. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
taking the time. I'm only a few weeks away from seeing you guys again, but rest assured, I can't wait. If you guys have not come to see Sagittary Studios, it's a mistake, but you'll have your next chance April 5th in Wakefield, Massachusetts. Shayna, we love you, and we'll see you
Love
soon.
you too.